These illegal gadgets are shocking. From hidden spy cameras to powerful laser jammers, some are banned for a reason. Stay tuned to see why these gadgets are so dangerous. Check the description for more details. Escort Redline 360C Laser Radar Detector is a high-performance device designed to detect radar and laser speed enforcement. While radar detectors are legal in many regions for personal use, they are banned or restricted in several places, including Virginia, Washington, D.C., and most Canadian provinces. Additionally, using radar detectors in commercial vehicles is illegal under U.S. federal law. Some areas also prohibit windshield-mounted devices regardless of their function. Law enforcement agencies may use radar detectors, RDDs, to identify and penalize users where these devices are prohibited. To avoid fines or legal consequences, users should check local traffic laws before using a radar detector. The EHEYCIGA heated blanket is generally legal to own and use, but it must comply with safety regulations to prevent fire hazards or electrical issues. Most countries require heated blankets to meet certification standards such as UL, Underwriters Laboratories, or CE, Conformit European, to ensure they are safe for household use. However, improper use, such as leaving the blanket on unattended for long periods, using it with a damaged cord, or exposing it to moisture, can pose risks. Additionally, some regions may have restrictions on importing or selling non-certified electric blankets. To ensure safety and compliance, users should always check product certifications, follow manufacturer guidelines, and avoid using defective or recalled units. A black ear amplifier bug wall listening device or any wiretap audio listening device is generally illegal when used without proper authorization. While certain uses, such as personal hearing assistance or law enforcement surveillance with a warrant, may be permitted, eavesdropping on private conversations without consent is a serious violation of privacy laws in many countries. Unauthorized use of such devices can lead to criminal charges, fines, or other legal consequences, as most jurisdictions strictly regulate surveillance and wiretapping. To avoid legal trouble, individuals should ensure compliance with local laws before using any audio listening device. The Lexar Jumpdrive Fingerprint F35 128GB USB 3.0 flash drive is a secure storage device that features fingerprint authentication for data protection. It allows users to store and access encrypted files using biometric security, supporting up to 10 fingerprint profiles from multiple authorized users. With USB 3.0 technology, it offers fast data transfer speeds while maintaining compatibility with older USB 2.0 ports. This flash drive is legal for personal and professional use, but users should ensure compliance with data protection laws when storing sensitive information. Additionally, in certain regions, encrypted storage devices may be subject to import or export restrictions due to cybersecurity regulations. The legality of the Portapack H2, when used with a HEYCIGA, depends on local regulations and intended use. It is generally legal for receiving radio signals, conducting research, and operating within permitted frequency ranges. However, transmitting without a proper license, intercepting encrypted communications, or interfering with licensed signals can be illegal in many countries. Regulatory bodies like the FCC in the US and CE in Europe impose strict rules on software-defined radios to prevent unauthorized use. Users should ensure compliance with local laws to avoid potential legal consequences. Windproof lighters and vintage lighters with watches are generally legal in most countries, as they are considered everyday tools for lighting cigarettes, candles, or campfires. Windproof lighters are popular for outdoor use because they can withstand strong winds, while vintage lighters with built-in watches are often valued as collectibles. However, some regions may have restrictions on carrying or transporting lighters, especially in places like airports, government buildings, or schools. In certain countries, lighters designed to look like other objects, such as a watch or firearm, may be classified as concealed items, making them illegal or restricted. Additionally, some high-powered windproof lighters that use pressurized gas or plasma technology might be regulated due to fire safety concerns. The Pocketchip H2 was a portable, open-source handheld computer by Nextthing Company, featuring a touchscreen, QWERTY keyboard, and a built-in battery. Running a Debian-based Linux OS, it was popular for coding, gaming, and DIY projects. After the company shut down, production stopped, making it rare and difficult to find. However, a dedicated community still provides support and software updates. For those seeking alternatives, Raspberry Pi-based handhelds like the Pi Boy or Clockwork Pi DevTerm offer similar open-source flexibility and portability. For those looking for alternatives, devices like the Raspberry Pi-based handhelds, e.g., Pi Boy, Clockwork Pi DevTerm, or Anbernic models, offer similar open-source flexibility, making them excellent modern replacements for Pocket-C.H.I.P's unique blend of portability and hackability. A propane torch weed burner with high output, such as 1,800,000 BTU, is generally legal for use in many areas but is subject to local fire safety laws and restrictions. While it can be an effective tool for burning weeds, melting ice, or performing industrial tasks, its use may be prohibited in regions with fire bans, drought conditions, or high wildfire risk. Many jurisdictions have regulations against open flame weed burners near flammable materials, dry vegetation, or buildings to prevent accidental fires. In some areas, a permit may be required for operation, especially in residential or wildfire-prone zones. To avoid legal and safety risks, users should always check local fire codes and weather conditions before using a propane torch burner. Night vision goggles with 4K resolution, 48MP camera, 8x digital zoom, and 7-level infrared are generally legal for personal and professional use, including wildlife observation, security, and outdoor activities like hunting. However, their use may be restricted in certain areas, such as military zones or government properties, and unauthorized surveillance or privacy invasion can lead to legal consequences. Additionally, some high-end infrared night vision devices are regulated under ITAR laws, restricting their export without proper authorization. To avoid legal issues, users should ensure compliance with local regulations before purchasing or using such devices. Using a fake, altered, stolen, or obscured license plate is considered a serious offense in most countries, often resulting in fines, vehicle impoundment, or even criminal charges. License plates serve as an official form of vehicle identification, and tampering with them, whether by modifying characters, covering them to avoid detection, or using counterfeit plates to bypass registration fees or tolls, is generally classified as fraud or vehicle-related crime. Many jurisdictions also have strict laws against removable, rotating, or hidden plate mechanisms, which are sometimes used to evade traffic cameras or toll systems. Even failing to properly display a license plate, such as using an illegible or improperly mounted plate, can result in penalties. Additionally, some areas regulate the use of decorative or novelty plates, allowing them only in specific circumstances, such as on the front of vehicles where a second official plate is not required. A key programmer and key fob for Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Volkswagen vehicles is generally legal when used for authorized purposes, such as programming a replacement key for your own vehicle or by licensed locksmiths and dealerships. However, using it to program keys for vehicles without the owner's permission, bypassing security systems, or engaging in fraudulent activities can be illegal in many countries. Laws against vehicle theft and unauthorized access strictly regulate key programming devices, and misuse can result in criminal charges. To ensure compliance, users should only use such devices for legitimate and lawful purposes. A Keychain Tracker is a compact GPS or Bluetooth-enabled device designed to help people locate their personal belongings, such as keys, wallets, or bags. While these trackers are widely used for convenience, their misuse can lead to legal issues. In many countries, using a Keychain Tracker to monitor someone without their consent is considered a violation of privacy laws. Unauthorized tracking can result in hefty fines or even imprisonment, especially if it is used for stalking or surveillance. Additionally, some regions have strict regulations on the sale and distribution of tracking devices that are difficult to detect or lack proper registration. Law enforcement agencies take such matters seriously, as they can pose a risk to personal safety. Therefore, before purchasing or using a Keychain Tracker, it is essential to understand and follow local laws to avoid any legal trouble. The Cowjag laser pointer is a high-powered laser device that has been banned in several countries due to safety concerns. These laser pointers emit an extremely strong beam of light that can cause permanent eye damage if directly exposed. Additionally, they pose a significant threat to aviation safety, as pointing them at aircraft can temporarily blind pilots, leading to dangerous situations during takeoff or landing. Because of these risks, many governments have implemented strict regulations on their sale, possession, and use. In some places, owning or misusing such a laser pointer can result in heavy fines or even imprisonment. Authorities actively monitor and enforce these laws to prevent accidents and ensure public safety. Therefore, before purchasing or using a Cowjag laser pointer, it is crucial to research and understand local legal restrictions to avoid serious consequences. Hidden camera detectors, anti-spy camera finders, and GPS tracker detectors are commonly used to identify hidden surveillance devices, such as covert cameras and tracking systems. These tools are generally legal, as they help protect personal privacy and security. Travelers, business professionals, and those concerned about unauthorized monitoring often use them for safety. However, some countries impose restrictions, especially if these devices interfere with law enforcement operations or national security. In certain cases, using them to detect and disable legally installed tracking devices, such as those used by authorities, employers, or government agencies, can lead to fines or legal action. Because surveillance and counter-surveillance laws vary, it is important to research and follow local regulations before purchasing or using these devices to avoid legal trouble. The EHEYCIGA LoRa and RP2040 USB stick is a portable LoRa, long-range, dongle based on the Raspberry Pi RP2040, designed for smart data transmission. LoRa technology is widely used for low-power, long-range communication in IoT applications, such as smart agriculture, industrial monitoring, and remote sensing. In most countries, LoRa devices are legal for personal and industrial use, as long as they operate within the designated frequency bands and follow local regulations. However, some regions impose restrictions on LoRa communication, especially if it interferes with licensed radio frequencies or is used for unauthorized transmissions. Misusing such a device for unauthorized communication, hacking, or interfering with government or emergency networks could lead to legal consequences. To ensure compliance, users should always check local laws and frequency regulations before using the EHEYCIGA LoRa USB stick to avoid potential legal issues. The metal tiny mouse jiggler is generally legal, as it simply mimics minor mouse movements to prevent a computer from going idle. However, its use may violate workplace policies, especially in environments with strict IT security regulations. While it is undetectable by software, some organizations prohibit such devices to prevent users from bypassing activity monitoring systems. If used to fake work activity, it could lead to disciplinary action rather than legal consequences. In personal settings, it poses no legal issues, but users should ensure compliance with company policies or any relevant regulations. The Zridonson 2-in-1 emergency strobe lights with red and blue flashing lights are primarily designed for law enforcement, emergency responders, and authorized personnel. In many countries, including the US, UK, and Canada, the use of red and blue emergency lights on civilian vehicles is strictly regulated to prevent impersonation of police or emergency services. Unauthorized use can result in fines, vehicle impoundment, or even criminal charges, depending on local laws. Some areas allow volunteer firefighters or emergency responders to use these lights, but often with specific rules, such as requiring a permit or limiting their use to certain situations. Security personnel may also be permitted to use amber or white strobe lights, but red and blue lights are generally restricted to official emergency vehicles. Additionally, using these lights while driving on public roads without authorization is illegal in most jurisdictions. Byrna SD Self-Defense Kinetic Launcher Ultimate Bundle is a non-lethal self-defense weapon designed to fire kinetic, pepper, or chemical irritant projectiles. While it is generally legal in many areas because it is not classified as a firearm, its legality varies by state, country, and local regulations. Some regions restrict or regulate the possession and use of kinetic launchers due to their potential use in law enforcement-style crowd control or self-defense situations. Certain areas may require permits, age restrictions, or prohibit their carry in public places. Additionally, traveling with a Byrna SD on airlines or across state and international borders can lead to legal issues if local laws differ. To avoid legal consequences, users should check local self-defense laws before purchasing, carrying, or using a Byrna SD launcher. The mini keychain knife, a small folding pocket knife with a liner lock, is generally legal for everyday carry in many places, as it is often considered a utility tool rather than a weapon. However, knife laws vary significantly by country, state, and even city, and certain regulations may restrict blade length, locking mechanisms, or carrying methods. In some regions, any knife with a locking mechanism may be classified as a prohibited item, regardless of its size. Additionally, carrying a knife, no matter how small, into airports, government buildings, schools, or other restricted areas can lead to fines, confiscation, or even criminal charges. Some areas also have laws against concealed carry of knives, meaning that even a small folding knife on a keychain could be illegal if hidden from view. While many jurisdictions allow the possession of small, non-threatening knives for practical use, some have strict laws against carrying knives in public spaces without a valid reason. To ensure compliance and avoid potential legal trouble, individuals should always check local laws and regulations before purchasing, carrying, or traveling with a mini keychain knife. Powerful propane cooking torch with an adjustable flame is widely used for culinary applications such as searing steak, caramelizing sugar, lighting barbecue grills, and charring vegetables. These torches are generally legal for home and professional kitchen use, but their operation must comply with fire safety regulations and local laws. Some jurisdictions have restrictions on open flame devices, particularly in areas prone to wildfires or fire hazards. Using a propane torch indoors without proper ventilation or near flammable materials can pose serious safety risks, including fire outbreaks and gas leaks. Additionally, in certain regions, carrying or using a high-powered torch in public spaces or non-culinary settings may be subject to legal restrictions due to concerns over misuse. To avoid potential legal and safety issues, users should always follow manufacturer instructions, ensure proper storage and handling of propane, and check local fire codes before using a cooking torch. If used responsibly, these torches are excellent tools for achieving precise, high-temperature cooking effects in both home and professional kitchens. A toy revolver with EVA soft bullets or a cap gun is generally legal for recreational activities such as children's play, cosplay, stage performances, or training exercises. However, laws and regulations regarding toy guns vary by country, state, and city, especially when they closely resemble real firearms. Many jurisdictions require toy guns to have bright colors, orange tips, or other distinguishing marks to prevent confusion with actual weapons. In some areas, carrying or displaying a realistic-looking toy gun in public, especially near schools, government buildings, or high-security zones, can lead to police intervention, fines, or even legal consequences if mistaken for a real firearm. Law enforcement agencies take such incidents seriously, as misidentification can pose risks to public safety. Additionally, some regions restrict or prohibit cap guns that use gunpowder-based caps, as they can produce loud sounds similar to real gunfire, potentially alarming the public or violating noise ordinances. To ensure safe and legal use, individuals should check local laws and regulations before purchasing or carrying a toy gun. It is also essential to educate children about responsible use, ensuring they do not point toy guns at others in a threatening manner or use them in restricted areas. By following safety guidelines and legal requirements, toy revolvers can remain a fun and harmless recreational tool. A silicone license plate frame is a flexible, durable, and rust-proof alternative to traditional metal or plastic frames. It is designed to provide a sleek look while protecting the edges of the license plate from damage and reducing vibrations. While these frames are generally legal in most places, their use must comply with local vehicle and traffic regulations to avoid potential fines or legal issues. Many jurisdictions allow silicone or plastic frames, provided they do not obstruct any part of the license plate, including letters, numbers, state or province names, or registration stickers. However, some states and countries have strict laws against any kind of license plate obstruction, even if minimal, to ensure law enforcement and automated systems such as traffic cameras, toll scanners, and red light cameras can clearly read the plate. In some areas, authorities prohibit license plate frames that alter the reflectivity of the plate or interfere with visibility at night. Additionally, certain regions ban or restrict the use of tinted, obscured, or excessively thick frames, even if they are made of legal materials like silicone. To avoid fines, warnings, or vehicle inspection failures, drivers should check their local Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, or traffic laws before installing any kind of license plate frame. Ensuring that the plate remains fully visible, legible, and compliant with regulations will help drivers stay on the right side of the law. Spytek Mini GPS Smart Tracker is a real-time GPS tracking device designed for use in vehicles, personal belongings, or even for tracking kids and pets. While GPS trackers are generally legal for personal use, their legality depends on how and where they are used. In most regions, using a GPS tracker on a vehicle or property that you own is completely legal. However, placing a tracking device on someone else's vehicle, belongings, or person without their consent may violate privacy laws, anti-stalking laws, or wiretapping regulations. Unauthorized tracking can result in criminal charges or civil penalties, especially if done without a valid reason or legal authorization. Some jurisdictions allow employers to track company-owned vehicles, but employees must often be notified in advance. Similarly, parents may use GPS trackers to monitor their minor children, but tracking an adult without their consent can lead to legal consequences. To avoid violating privacy laws, users should ensure they are complying with local regulations before using a GPS tracker. It's always recommended to obtain consent when tracking another person's vehicle or belongings to prevent potential legal issues.